Welcome back to the Takeout. President Trump has abruptly canceled planned airstrikes on Iran just a few hours before the scheduled launch. In a statement on social media, the president said he changed his mind because progress has been made in peace negotiations. Joining me to talk about this is Congressman Kevin Kiley, an independent who caucuses with Republicans. He just advanced to the general election for California's redrawn 6th Congressional District. Congressman, congratulations. Thanks for being with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So what's your take on this supposed deal that the president just announced? Do you and your colleagues believe that this really is an agreement that would end hostilities in the war with Iran?
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, if it leads to us not resuming hostilities and if it leads to deterrence of Iran's nuclear ambitions and a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, that's obviously very good news. But we need to make sure it's on a solid footing. And so people, I think, are a little tired of the whiplash, and there's skepticism about whether, that will lead to a durable solution. So what we really need in order to make sure that if this is coming together, as we hope it is, to ensure that it lasts, is we need to have Congress centrally involved, we need to have our allies involved, we need to have the Gulf states involved. So that's where this needs to be going.
Does it hurt the president's credibility with Republicans and with your constituents when he consistently makes claims about how close he is to a deal that seem to differ with one another from day to day?
Well, he has his style of going about these negotiations, and there may be some room for that in these high-level situations. However, we need to have stability as well and predictability, and all of the various players who are involved in this complex geopolitical scenario, need to have the assurance that what is said today will hold. And so that's why I think it's important to have Congress involved and have our allies involved.
I want to ask you about this surveillance bill today that failed. This means that a key spy power is going to lapse, at least temporarily, because of concern about the president's pick for acting director of national intelligence. How concerned are you about that lapse? Congress can't be that concerned because they're all going home.
Yeah, I'm extremely concerned. I don't think Congress should go home with this program having lapsed. And it's kind of the ultimate example of partisanship polarization reaching peak levels. It used to be that whatever else we might disagree about, we can at least come together when the vital national security interests of the United States are at stake. But now this vital national security program, FISA Section 702, is going to go dark because Congress has failed to act.
And what do you think that's going to mean?
Well, it could mean a lot of things in terms of our ability to get the actionable intelligence we need to deter threats to the United States. Anyone who is in the intelligence community will tell you how vital this program is. So hopefully, now that we have a new pick for Director of National Intelligence, we can find a way to get this revived very quickly.
Do you support Jay Clayton? You think he'd be a good director?
I know Jay Clayton from his reputation with the SEC. He's a serious person, obviously a big improvement over the last pick. I don't know exactly what his experience is in intelligence, but he seems like the sort of person has the right disposition for this role.
Your colleague, Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, indirectly criticized House Speaker Mike Johnson this week. He said the House is being poorly managed. Do you agree, and what do you think needs to be done differently?
Well, I've had a lot of opinions about how the House could run better during my time in Congress. I think that, first and foremost, we have to defend the institutional prerogatives, the constitutional authority of the House of Representatives. And so I've been very critical of things the House has done to sort of cede that authority or not be in the driver's seat when it comes to important policy on things like tariffs.
Let's talk about your race, shall we? You left the Republican Party. You're in this new district. You still caucus with Republicans, but you're officially an independent. This newly redrawn district favors Democrats. So what's your path to victory?
Well, my path is actually the same path that I've pursued in the past, which is to build a coalition of Democrats, Republicans, and independents. In my last race, and this is when I was still affiliated with the Republican Party, I actually got the second most crossover votes of any competitive race in the country. I ran 8 points ahead of the president in the presidential race in my race. And so I think that that's because I have delivered for my district in a way that transcends partisanship. And I think that's where the voters of this district are at. They see what extreme partisanship has done to our country. They see what it's done to our state in California, where you have the highest cost of living in the country. But they also see what independent leadership has meant for our district, when we've really been able to attain a quality of life that you don't see in other parts of California.
You've been a big critic of redistricting around the country. You've even introduced legislation to try to address it. Would you feel this strongly if you were in a safe Republican district?
I absolutely would. As a matter of fact, I could have exploited the whole gerrymandering scheme and then run in a safe Republican district, which many people expected me to do. But I thought that would be making things worse, and I wanted to make them better. I wanted to chart a different course. And when it comes to gerrymandering, I've opposed it from the very beginning in Texas, in California, in Virginia, in Florida, wherever. I think gerrymandering is a plague on democracy, and I've introduced legislation to bring this whole terrible redistricting war to an end.
A lot of people feel the same way you do. Congressman Kevin Kiley of California, thank you so much.
You bet.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.